What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Unreal Engine 5 game development live stream where we're back in our Deck Knight project, a game built from scratch using Unreal Engine 5, C++, blueprints, the gameplay ability system plugin, and all that good stuff. So today is a kind of random stuff day. I've been starting to get in tune with myself again, trying to figure out how I want to organize myself. So I'm back in I don't even remember what this program is. ClickUp. Just trying to organize my thoughts and stuff. So we're just gonna power through some of the tasks that I have. Some will be easy, some might be a little bit time consuming, but I think it's going to be worth it. So let me work it. So the first thing I want to do, I want to probably bang out this error that's happening. We get an error whenever we try to, in the animation editor, try to get this event combat shoot, right? So I think it's because of the way the notify is working, and I think in editor, there's obviously no valid ability system component, so it tries to sense as something that doesn't exist, and therefore we get that error. So we could probably do a quick project search for this tag and get an example animation open. So let's just look. And this seems like a good candidate. So, we'll have that in the background, right? And as I have it in the background, I have already some stuff in the logs down there. Not sure how well you can see that, but trust me, it's there. So, keep going, a couple more slots, right? So we could probably make this better by just making a simple validated get or something like that, right? So we can open this up. So we have invalid retrieve from animation. So basically, we try to send this, but it doesn't really work. So maybe, we can always set should fire an editor as false anyway. But we can also do like a safety thing, get ability system component, and do it as valid. And that could be just relatively cleaner. So that should fix the issue. So what we could do, we could open this up, let it run a few times, and no more error. We could nativize this maybe someday, maybe some not, but who cares? We got it done. So one thing off of our list. So done. Bye-bye. So next I want to implement a tick task and abilities, and past Devin did me a super solid, and I posted how to do this a long time ago. I guess just copy and paste the code, I hope. So there's some feedback iteration loops and stuff. So we should be able to just look into this. Maybe we can clean it up, make it better. Oops, that's not what I wanted to click on. So here we go. Also, did I have a notification? I did. What's this? Oh, I earned anniversary. More hearts. Other stuff. I got all that good stuff. But here we go. All right. So we'll probably be able to clean this up and do this a little bit better. Let's do that. And we'll integrate it into our dagger hold or dagger special. So we have ability somewhere, gameplay ability system. And then we have tasks. Yeah, we don't really have, I don't know if I need to make anything specific for in terms of folder or directory or anything like that. I'll make a folder though, I'll call it utility. I'll be back in a second. All right, your boy's back. So yeah, we'll call this folder utility. And now we'll make a new Unreal class, and based on this, it should just be ability task. I'm not mistaken, right? You ability task. And we'll call this GAC ability tick task. Yeah, sure. Private is fine. And we'll just have to make the similar directory in the public. So gameplay ability system, tasks, right click, add directory, utility. And then we could just bring the header. Bam. Then we gotta update the include, so game. Yeah. Cool beans. So we should be able to just more or less copy, and then we'll review it. Well, maybe not all of that. Let me do that. And then we'll go up. That seems fine. We just gotta update this to be UGAC underscore ability to task like that. Update that, update that. Seems fine. And then the CPP, not super long. Now let's stop that, and then I also have to, looks like I need to update writer. So we could probably do that too. Why the F not? But yeah, also the class, the API. I got, yeah, gas course API. There you go. All seems fine. I just do this, right? So it seems like that's it. So in the meanwhile, let's update and restart this bad boy. And while that's going on in the background, we play a little bit of the progress that we made from last time, because we were working on the dagger special, which was being able to shoot like these projectiles out from each of the dagger swipes. So we could take a look at that, kill some time. Oh, we got ourselves a kitty. Hang on now. Want to hide it? Oh. This is Lola, aka Boo Boo. The best kitty ever. She likes to pretend she's human. She's the best kitty. But you can go, you're free. You have autonomy. Sometimes the mouse input doesn't like consume correctly. Yeah, let's restart the IDE. There we go. Let's actually get our gamepad to work. And there's other stuff I want to do as well. Whoops. Where I would want to zoom out the camera a bit. I do want to change the input scheme a little bit so that selecting a card is the A button rather than the up D-pad. But, you know, those are small changes that we can work towards. You want to come up here, Boo-Boo? Let's see, she'll jump up on my lap here. So right now, it just works by default. We have these projectiles, right? But I want it to be earned. I want you to build up this weapon mana resource, and then you can pay the cost. I think it works pretty well. It's kind of like a little dance here. I'm trying to think what would make it interesting to use. You know what I mean? Because, like, in general, I would want you to be able to use the dagger to kind of build up some sort of status effect on enemies. So, like, you know, as you're dealing damage to them, you know, some status effect appears, and then, like, you use this hold to consume that status and gain this weapon mana. And then, basically, you know, when you start shooting this stuff out, I also have to feel like this needs to be good control as well. Because, like, you know, you can turn and move it anytime you want, but, like, I feel like if you get relatively close to a target, it will just automatically get you there. So I'll need to see what that looks like in practice. But I think it would be pretty cool that, you know, if you kill an enemy with this thing, if you kill an enemy with that thing, then maybe like some black hole opens up, or some actor appears that like tethers enemies or something nearby that gives them all that status that you can consume. So if you kill some enemy with that, you spread out the status effect that you can then like kind of curve, and you kind of gain all that weapon mana back and kind of like have that interesting loop, I hope. So that's my hope with that. We'll see how it works in practice, but yeah, right now I just have it kind of pseudo working. And I think it would be cool if this like this hold can also do stuff with status effects or something, like if an enemy's on fire or something. You pass through him if he's on fire, consume that status, and you become on, not like you're on fire, but you're carrying that fire status, and the other enemies you touch gain that status effect. Could be cool. But, you know, baby steps, you know. So once I get this dagger loop interesting, I'll need to do some cleanup, and then I want to do one other weapon, either a greatsword or sword and shield. Do a similar kind of builder spender mechanic or something that uses weapon mana in an interesting way. Maybe a different way. And then we could start working on some more cards, and then start working on more interesting enemies, because, you know, all we have is a dummy character. And I gotta fix that bug. You make him go flying. I feel like I should be able to just lock them into like a certain axis, you know? But that's a different problem. It could be tech, you know? It could be a way you maneuver. Because, like, if I'm doing this, I feel like I should be targeting them, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel right that I'm just kind of missing. So there should be, like, some cone that's, like, acceptable, but we have to see what that feels like with multiple enemies, you know? But yeah, I think we're making good progress. So assuming this works, once again, thanks past Devin, pretty clutch. For those interested, if you want to use and introduce yourself a tick task in your gameplay abilities, you could use that. So I could probably say, I hope I can say complete. We'll see if that compiles, but we'll continue working on it. So there's also the implement Unreal Directive library, which for sure I want to do. So maybe we could start doing that as well. We could just look at the instructions here. So installation guide. So we have 5.7, 5.8. Close Unreal Editor, already done. It looks like the JetBrains stuff finished. Anyway, So open GitHub releases, choose your plugin version. So let's see. Heyo, what's up, guys? So hey, what's your to-do today? So we're doing random shit. So I wrote this old on-tick ability task for a previous project. So I'm trying to integrate it into mine so that I can have ticking within my gameplay abilities, and then I can use that to help with the dagger movement, I think, so I can update the motion warping. We fixed some random error in the log with animation, just because it was trying to get an ability system component while in the editor preview, and obviously that thing doesn't exist, so there's just errors thrown. And then I want to integrate this Unreal Directive Utilities plugin. So if you want to follow that there, go for it. So yeah, the Niagara systems and particle systems, no. I get all the visual stuff from Fab. I just program everything else. I might make tweaks from Niagara systems, but you know, that's like 0.1% of the work. I just rely on the visual stuff. So yeah, let's continue this process. So this is the one we want. So that's Unreal 6. So there's Unreal 5. This is 0.7, which I believe is what we have. I mean, is this something I can get off of Fab? I wonder. Let's open up the project and look at Fab. Because yeah, we're just doing miscellaneous stuff today. Some stuff off the bucket list item. And then after that, we will do more focused work on the actual dagger combo stuff. I don't know how much we'll be able to do, but you know. Today was a tiring day. I have a 3-day weekend. Tomorrow I'm going to start filming the motion warping tutorial, so I want to take it easy. So Unreal Directive, I think is what it's called, right? So is there anything? Unreal Match 3. Oh. We got a kitty who magically teleported. How you doing, boo-boo? I don't know if she's gonna stay. She might jump down and shake the earth with her. Yeah, I don't see it, so let's just do it ourselves. So 5.7 is us. So we're downloading it. Next step, extract into the plugin stuff. Makes sense. So plugins, and then here. So let's go to our... Do we have our download somewhere? What happened? I guess I can go to... Downloads. Okay. I don't know where it downloaded to. Oh, it's just called Directive Utilities. Go. And we can just copy this over to the other directory, right? Copy. Done. Have you thought about recording a tutorial on state trees in a simple boss fight? You know, changes the behavior depending on percentage of health the boss fight has left, etc. No, I haven't, but just because I don't feel so confident with state trees when using it with AI. At least not yet. And a lot, like the vanilla state tree stuff, you know, there's not much there. You have to build a lot of different tasks and conditions and all that stuff. So I don't know how much can be done in like a, obviously it could be a good tutorial series where, you know, you kind of build everything from scratch, but right now that's not on my plate. But once I actually start building AI for myself, more than just this dummy character, you know, maybe I'll feel a little bit more confident in doing that, and then I would try to. But for now, no. But I am reading a lot about AI. One of the guys in our Discord, he recommended a really good website. Let me find it. It's a good website. I'm reading through that one. Okay, so we have it downloaded. What's next, right? So extract, open the project files. We'll restart the editor. Verify the install. So I have to also do this, right? So updating from UG Core. Okay, so let's just make sure we update our hold on, let's see here. Well, so what browser do you use in Office? Do they make you use a specific one? No, they don't. They don't make us use a specific one. I use Chrome just out of habit, but at home I have Opera. So let's go to our build.cs if I'm not mistaken. And it was in the public dependencies. I think that's what it said. So now it's got to generate stuff. Let it do its thing. And then we'll try compiling and we'll just see what problems we come with. Because, you know, rarely do these things correctly the first time. You know what I mean? I don't know if I ever showed this on stream, but I got the 100,000 subs on YouTube plaque. So thanks for everybody who subbed over there. Slowly but surely building a community. I gotta be more consistent with my uploads and my shorts and stuff like that, but make sure to subscribe there if you aren't. Make sure to follow here on Twitch if you aren't. It's all appreciated. I usually do this at the end of streams, but definitely check out our Discord if you're interested. Yeah, it's not a super active Discord. I try to post when I can, share when I can, but hopefully more and more people find it interesting. Yeah, thanks for the congratulations. All right, so things are compiling. So far, so good. And we'll just have to see if the ability task also finishes compiling. And if it does, like I said, we'll go into our hold attack with the dagger, where you can kind of navigate and spin around. And we can take a look at that and update it to use the tick task instead of a timer. Yeah, and this Unreal Directive thing is pretty cool. Like, I haven't had a chance to really like dive into so much of it, but you know, I see something on Twitter and you know, I'm an easy sell, you know. But there's a lot of cool helper nodes. Like a bunch of different tasks. Async tasks. Pretty cool. Okay, so we compiled successfully. That's pretty sweet. So let's go into our dagger hold. think that's what I called it. And yeah, it's probably gonna be the loop. But yeah, one thing I don't like about the dagger hole, which I want to refactor, is the fact that there's a separation between the start and the loop. I'm wondering why I did it that way. Do you have a favorite game? Game that was the one that made you want to make though? I mean, the game that I liked that made me want to make games was Halo 3, because they had Forge mode, and so that was like my first exposure to things like level design and gameplay design, game modes and stuff like that. I wasn't good, obviously, but it really sparked that interest, and I wanted to do level design when I first started, but then I kind of moved towards the technical side of stuff. But you know, I play games that inspire me a good amount of times. Like, I'm still hyped to get into Crimson Desert once I finish Horizon Forbidden West, but even the simple games are like the stuff with the Mega Bonk and like all these silly games also kind of inspire me too. I really like roguelites. I like Metroidvanias. I really liked Hollow Knight when I played that this year. I've been kind of going through my backlog and stuff. So what's not working with your dagger ability? So there's a couple things. I won't say it's not working, but things that I want to improve on. Like, for example, after you do this, it takes a very long time to cancel out of the ending of it. Like, I want to make sure I can fix that. So like, I'm spamming X, and only on the full recovery does it let you come out of it. Should be an easy fix. And the way I'm able to navigate while spinning is through this timer. And this timer updates the movement. I update the transform of the motion warping and kind of move it forward. So I can visualize that for you guys. I want to move this to my tick task that I just quickly implemented. But you can see the warp target I'm kind of moving towards. I'll put it in slow motion. And because I have pretty strong or pretty weak rotation, like, it gives that excuse me. I'm drinking Monster. It gives you that roadie run feeling. You know, you have like really long curves to follow, even though the warp target is updating constantly, you know. So that's gonna be something I go over in my tutorial as well. But so rather than doing this, I could just get the tick task, right? We should be able to pop that in, get rid of view, and because it's an ability task, it gets cleaned up automatically. And then I should just be able to call update movement, but connect view. And we should see more or less the same behavior, except now it's through tick. And yeah. So, works decently well. But the stuff that I want to improve with the dagger ability, it's kind of what I talked about at the very beginning. Maybe you guys weren't here when I was saying it, but basically I'm trying to figure out the main core loop of this thing, right? So what I'm imagining is, as I'm dealing damage to this guy, you already see that this not magic, but this weapon mana is going up, this blue line on the bottom left. For the dagger, I don't think it should happen on damage like this. What I'm thinking is each dagger hit adds a stack of some sort of status effect onto the dummy character or whatever enemy, right? And as you're doing stacks and you're applying this gameplay effect and the status effect, once they have that status effect, you can use this hold. And if you hit them, you consume that stack and you gain a bunch of the weapon mana. And then once you have enough weapon mana, you can use this ability. And then if you kill an enemy with that ability, I want there maybe to be some sort of like anomaly where he spawned that you can maybe tether nearby enemies and basically sustain that same status effect. And so then you can pretty much repeat it again. So like you see them all tethered in, you try to curve the bullet kind of movement, consume as much of that weapon mana back, and then kind of rinse and repeat. But this would still deal a lot of damage and do a lot of cool stuff. And maybe this could also apply, you know, a full stack of the thing. We'll have to see how easy it is to kind of abuse that. But that's the basic idea right now. But we're doing some miscellaneous stuff today, so we're not going to be focusing too much on that. I should probably make the official design specs for it, but it's another problem for a different day. So we're done with that. So I wanted to now change the collision shape from a sphere component to a capsule component for my projectile pools. And the reason for this is, you know, sphere shapes are very obtuse in how they can be used. You can either have a big sphere or a small sphere, but with a capsule, you can make long shapes, rotate long this way, diagonal, or you can make a sphere, right? Because you have the capsule half height and the half radius. So if you wanted to make a sphere, you could. So I'd rather move to capsule just so I can give myself a little bit more flexibility on my collision shapes for my projectiles. Because I think potentially long term, what I think would be cool is with these projectiles, if when you do that, it's more of like a diagonal kind of like projectile. And so as you're doing this fast, you're like making like X shapes. So I think that would just be in general cool. But for now, I'm just kind of doing what I can do. And I'm wondering if there should be like, just to give this some like sauce, do some sort of like kickback on the player. So after each hit, it's like pushing you back a bit. Or at least have dust kick up and have some sort of camera shake or something like that each time you do it. We'll see what we can really achieve. So this refractor is gonna break some stuff, and that's okay. So let's go into our projectile, which is conveniently open. So let's close everything else out too. And let's find our sphere collision component, right? So we're gonna have to bring in a class U capsule component instead. And U capsule component. Let's get rid of U. And now look at all those red chickens, huh? So we gotta do what? We first gotta bring in the right header. So let's find sphere component. So it's probably gonna be in the same general directory, right? So component slash capsule component. Get rid of U. We'll deal with any more red that comes in. And then we just change this to U capsule component. Good. Now, where else is it red? Yeah. We gotta do projectile, collision component, half, set capsule half height, 0. This is when we're resetting stuff, returning stuff back to the pool. Then projectile, collision component, radius, this is 0. We should be able to then nuke that. So how's everybody's week going? Everyone doing good? Today was technically my Friday. I took a 3-day weekend, so I got the vibes. Okay, so then get unscaled capsule radius. And yeah, we'll have to update this collision fragment. Slow for me, done a lot of house cleaning though, so that feels good. Yeah, but, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with house cleaning. Sometimes you gotta just get into the mindset and just do it. But you know, sometimes if you have some good music or something you're listening to, it's not too bad. We're gonna have to update our collision fragment component, right? Or collision shape fragment. So we have radius, we can keep that, but we're gonna need half height. You know, the ultimate customization is to be able to label if you want a sphere or a capsule or something, but for my own sake, let's just do capsule. So it's just going to be 10 and 10, which is, for all intents and purposes, a sphere. Oops. Collision fragment dot half height false, right? Okay. That doesn't seem too bad though, right? So what's your experience in music composition for your games you make in your spare time? I got no experience. For my game, like I can try to describe what I want to like I want it to be like the intensity of music that you hear from Doom, but in like medieval tavern style. Like you have like electric violin solos, kind of like Lindsey Sterling style. There's one, I wonder if it's on YouTube. There's one video from the guy, I don't know what his name is, but he's the guy that goes around New York City with the DJ setup. And he had some woman that was playing this violin, like electric violin. Let's see if I can find it. So New York walking DJ electric violin. I think this is it.
What up? Yeah. Can you walk and play?
Absolutely.
What do you play violin?
So
Anything you want.
hopefully you can hear this.
One problem we're gonna have. Do you have a pickup on there or no?
I actually do in my bag. I like had thought about your videos like earlier, and I was like, I hope I run into this guy, and I have my violin, and I'm like,
Dude, this is that time.
yeah.
But you can jam on it. You can like improv.
Oh, 100%.
Fire. Okay, good. Let me build it up a little bit first.
It's like whatever this is the music. We're gonna jam out to this for a minute. Yeah, so more or less that I think would be pretty cool. I kind of just lost the whole YouTube thing. Hold on. But yeah, some sort of like I don't know how you would categorize that, but like medieval tavern trap music. I think that would be cool. Something that's just hype, something that's loopable, something that you can just kind of bang your head to, something non-intrusive. Like the one thing that I'm sure everybody says it about Doom, but the music really hypes it up. But yeah, the music really just emphasizes the gameplay in that sense, and I'd like to see that for mine. What would your approach be to have that in the game? I have no clue. Like I feel uncomfortable trying to approach other people to help with a project that I can't financially compensate. So I try to just not worry about it for now. Like I don't think I would ever want to generate that with AI or anything like that. I would rather just, if I really wanted it that badly, I would just try to pay someone to help me make that, or I would learn it myself, which probably not going to happen. I did play trumpet in high school, but that's the extent of my music. I can dance. I can count to 4, you know. But that's about it. So let's see, where are we at? Because we really kind of pushed through a lot of this stuff. So we changed the collision. So let's just double check some of our fragments here. So let's look at projectile. So here's our projectile data. We have collision fragment. Nothing changed there, so all good. We can double check as well. Show collision. Whoops. That's not what I wanted. Yeah, it seems like everything's drawing, so that's good. But the kickback VFX didn't stop playing, but that's okay. So it seems like things are intact. Let's just bring out an enemy just to be sure. Can I hit him with everything? Yes. Yes. I think I took damage. Let's have him do it again. Yep. Okay. So that went relatively smooth. So we're done. So what do you guys want to do? Would you rather try to add interpolation to the weapon mana bar generation, or refactor the dagger hold loop so that it's not 3 different states and it's just 1 state in state tree? I'll let you guys decide. Whoever. I know there's only like a couple of you watching, but maybe there's enough people who care what we try to do. Dagger state? Okay. So let's break down what the problem is. Sorry. So we have dagger state combo, right? So this is the heavy hold, right? This is the attack in question. And it has 3 states. The start, the loop, and the end. And if I'm honest, I don't know why it's separated like that. I made this a while ago, and it seems like it's not necessary. So what we're gonna need to do is also we'll have to integrate the loop and everything into choose your tables, just to keep consistency. But you know, this is the first part, right? You go, it's like yep, right, and then it goes into the loop. So I feel like all we really need to do is AS dagger hold. I can just do it. I don't know why it's AS. Let's just do dagger or oh god. Oh yeah, it's not gonna let me rename anything until I reconnect to Perforce, so forgive me, cover your eyes. Did I not type that in correctly? My god. Perforce is killing me. Let's reopen it. Okay. Let's reconnect. Right there. Mark you for add. Got ourselves a bot. Bye-bye. 8 dagger hold. Should be enough, right? So I have this. And ideally we can literally just grab the loop. And here's the end, right? So grab the loop, throw you in. Grab the end. Also throw you in. Now we gotta create our montage sections. Yo, what's up, Talos? How you doing? Thanks for popping in. All your progress with the AIs pump me up. Your project's looking cooler and cooler every single time you show it, so man, keep it up. So yeah, let's create our sections, right? So we have default, we'll keep it like that, but then our new section's gonna be loop and then end, right? So let's make sure we position this correctly. And there we go. Now, how is this supposed to function? Loop, we want a loop, right? So it should functionally look like this. Except, yeah, I think he just he just yeeted out of existence. Hold on. I don't know if that's a bug, but yeah, I guess because there's root translation, he disappears, goes somewhere. But essentially, we want the motion warp to be here, right? It's not going to be translation. We're going to use the built-in root motion, the warp rotation time multiplier. Okay, so I know why there's two of them. So this one's a quick one, so you can quickly change directions at the beginning. But then during the movement, we have a second one. I don't know if it's going to complain within the montage sections here. And then we have a last one for the last course correction at the end, right? Right, he's over here. Hello. I think like as it loops, yeah, he goes bye. It's funny. Oh well. Okay, so we got our motion warping, right? We can call this motion warp. What else do we need? We need this tag because we want to. Well, I guess we could put it. Well, no, we don't want it for the actual full part of the ability, right? We do want it to be stateful, so ignore collisions. Only for characters. We can add this notify, our custom one. Maybe this has the same error as the one we were looking at before. Let me move this around. Does it complain? No. I'll take it. So we can pretty much do it during the looped section. Now we have input buffering and our weapon trails, right? So then we handle damage a little bit differently in this case. That's okay. We just generate a sphere task. We don't do anything specific. But we'll need to pull the same damage information from somewhere, and that's something I need to start thinking about how I want to make the data structure for my damage and how granular that needs to be, if that makes sense. So there's our ignore. I have to paste. So we have 2 weapon trails, 1 for each dagger. Kind of gives that spiraling effect, which I liked a lot. Oop. Now we have our input buffer, and the input buffer and our early blend out, right? So this one I think should have kind of like kind of keep you stuck in place for a bit, but you can buffer other stuff. So let's make sure things are aligned here. Good enough. Okay, so there's our input buffer. There's probably some space here to clean that up, I think. And we have our early blend out, right? With movement. So there we go. So I think there needs to be also just a notify or event sent back to say when we want to open up this sphere. And I think that's maybe why I separated it out, or at least partially, but we could fix that in other ways. So paste. So we lost our guy again. I don't know where he went. So let's open and close. Hello, my guy. So yeah, we want this pretty late, I think. Something around there, I think, is reasonable for movement. You can always interrupt it with other things. But that should be enough. So like I said, we also need callback events. So let's look at what we could possibly use. So gameplay events. So add notify event. Send event to self. And we're gonna need, do you happen to have any tips on how I can synchronize the movement walking animation with the player's movement speed so that the character doesn't slide across the ground because the animation is slower than the movement speed? I forget what it's called, but I think it's like, let's look at the animation blueprint, because like you could obviously speed things up to have it match closer based on that velocity, right? Like you could have a button space like that, or you know, you can have the animations built with that speed in mind, but there should be something. I'm trying to remember what it's called. There's something warping, right? So I think it's stride warping. So adjust the speed of the animation by warping the leg stride with the specified scale and direction. So maybe look into that. Maybe that's what you need. So there's pose warping and stride warping. I'll send you some of this stuff in the chat. Maybe check them out. Maybe it's what you need. That's what I was thinking of. But then, you know, there's also motion matching if you want to go down that rabbit hole of stuff. So let's look at events that we have. That's what we found. So we have gameplay event.animation.combat.melee dagger.heavy start. Maybe it's fine. And we want it to be looped. So maybe that's also the reason why, because it's a looped section. But we can always add it to once or something. Maybe around here is the end. So there we go. So I think everything's set up in the animation. So let's go back into the state tree and let's just keep the loop section. So we have hold, loop, we'll rename all that. So we have the combo tag, so we can search for this, go into our chooser, and we can just replace that with this new animation. And yeah, there's heavy start. Let's get rid of you. We don't need ya. Go on yet. So yeah, now we're in this loop. We grant this ability. We could probably have to rename it, or just take this logic, move it all into this thing. So I'm gonna just effectively nuke as much as I need to here. Well, I guess since I copied everything, I should get those events too, right? So bam. Create matching function like that. So we don't need you there. We need to expose stuff, right? So let's create this variable, tag combo tag, boom. Exposed. Force end, I don't what's that flag do? Okay, so it loops until we say so, right? So that's kind of like what this is doing. So after 0.5 seconds, this is the movement timer that we no longer need, right? So let's do it in the context of this, right? So we don't need you. So after half a second, we get that, we remove the warp target, and then we check force end. So I don't remember what this was for in the context of state tree, so we probably don't need it. We should just be able to do that, right? And is that how we called it in our montage end? Yes. So we should be able to just naturally just play the loop, and it loops as long as we want, and then we end. That should be Gucci. This is our damage and stuff like that, so it can't automatically call for that. We have to use this event callback that we made. And there is this force end. We don't need that. We're always going to start at the beginning. And we remove the warp target on end, which is great. We're updating this on tick, so we should be able to recognize it immediately. We're going to have to load this in. We have the result. We do that. All good. And I'll want to save this ability task for when we actually get to the looped section. So I could, I think, be able to get montage section. Can I just get current montage, then get section name? Or what would we have? There should be. Is there a way to get the active section? Well, I guess maybe I can use the same trigger because this is when this is active, is on the loop. Because yeah, ideally I could just grab this, do, you know, update movement at the very beginning. Then on this event callback, so event tag, we have to make a custom event. So on gameplay events, with a gameplay tag in event tag. There you go. And then we call it. Oops. Where's the function? On gameplay event? No, what did I call it? On gameplay events. Am I high? What the fuck is going on? Yeah. And we could do a switch. We don't need a default. And we'll do heavy start, heavy end. And since it's going to be loop the start, most likely we're going to say do once. Then that's where we're going to do a bunch of stuff, right? So we need to start this overlap. So we're going to do custom event start damage overlap or handle overlap. Now we're going to need to store this task so we can manually end it later. So damage async task, damage overlap async task. Perfecto. Now I can grab this as a reference. Always do a valid data get, you never know. And we should be able to call end task. So there's that, and then we're going to do handle damage overlap. But then we're also going to now do our tick task. And we're going to do the same thing. So we'll do a custom event. I'm in like the zone, the vibe zone. I don't know how you guys are feeling. How's everyone holding up? Am I making sense what I'm doing? So we'll do, and movement updates, and then we have that ability task. So tick task. Whoops. Go. And then again, validate get. And task. Okay. And so now this is more or less this. On blend out, we end the ability. Uninterrupted, whatever. So now we have to add these event tags. We could expose these as a property. Let's move some stuff into some variable categories. So we have tasks. So we have our exposed stuff, event tags, and combo tag. This default will be set to what we'd expect at the moment, right? So it's going to be dagger.heavy. And I think it is hierarchical, so we could just say dagger.heavy. We don't have to specify start or end. We'll see, we'll confirm. We could always do a breakpoint. So yeah, the ability and the animation, I believe they're all in. So now I gotta go into the stage tree again. I don't have AC and I'm trying not to die in hate. Oh man, I'm sorry, dude. It's pretty rough. I don't have AC either. But today is pretty cloudy and rainy in Warsaw. So temperature's not too bad. Yeah. On some of the days that we're here, we're dying. Sorry, I got distracted. So we have Dagger Hold now. Right, this is the one we care about. So let's go into our state tree. Let's update our dynamic task. Let's change it to Dagger Hold. We can enforce rebuild and everything is fine. So should at least get me to that breakpoint. But then we need to have, eventually we need transitions, right? So we're going to have a transition complete back to root at the very least so we can get back to idle. So let's make sure I can get to that callback. Yes. So we're here. we handled that. So I did also forget to call tick task handle movement. So first bug found. Let's try again. Okay, so the movement isn't being updated. I can't rotate. So we're making progress. So we do tick task, we do this, we go to update movement, right? So let's just see, because this for sure gets called, but something might be weird. Maybe I didn't update the right. So here's the motion warp target. Dagger motion warp, all the clamping is there. Seems like it would work. I don't know. I don't know if it's a problem because it's also. I don't know. Well, we've had it before, but you can always debug it, right? So let's open up our motion warp target. Let's go into slow-mo. I see. We're not looping for very long. Let's make it 2 seconds. I forget how long it was. Am I not looping this correctly? Okay, he's yeeting in some other direction, right? So let's see if I don't finish this, right? My guy should just kind of yeet forever. But he doesn't. Good to know. So, but what calls end ability here? Oh, wrong one. Oh my god. Okay, so I was just let's close out of this one. Wrong ability. Let's close the loop. Go to hold. Let's make this 2 seconds. Well, let's make sure that this is also the right one. I should go on forever. Yeah. And I have control. This is kind of cool. I'm just kind of driving myself. So I wonder if there's a way to hook into this as well. Like if you have weapon mana, maybe this becomes also special in some way where... Do I have gravity? Yes. Okay. Boy. Maybe you can extend this for as long as you have weapon mana or something. But by default, doesn't go for very long. Does 2 seconds make sense? No. I think 1 second is fine. So I mean, it's basically the looped section, right? How long does it take under normal circumstances to get to the loop section? About 0.35 seconds. So I think 1 second is reasonable to start. Might be a little bit longer than before, but I think that's fine. So now we should be able to delete some stuff, which is always a good thing, in my humble opinion. The more we can get rid of, I think the more readable our shit can be. So let's go to that directory. We don't need hold loop anymore. We don't need dagger block. Now we have dagger hold and special. Maybe I would want to reparent the melee base to have like a dagger melee, but It's fine. Give me a second, guys. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. Your boy's back. So now that we simplified this a bit, maybe we'll have better control over how we can make sure that it can exit out early, right? Because, like, when I'm doing this, you know, we get the full recovery, but it takes me forever to start attacking again, even though our buffer is technically open. And we could even debug this. Just for funsies, right? We can use the rewind debugger. And we can do the attack, right? We're here and I'm tapping. And then we eventually get there, right? We could stop and just rewind. So we're here. We have the event there. We have melee. See how we have this input melee dot triggered? It just has no transition at this point. So we should simply have to just put. So obviously we have state completed to be en route. So maybe this one's redundant, but we can have events. And we can say, so we can go to melee combo 1. And so we can grab some of this stuff like light attack triggers, right? We can have another event. And we could say, we can go back into melee heavy hold if we get that hold that triggered. I think maybe what also was intended was being able to maybe be able to, like, on release manually end it, you know what I mean? But for now I think it's fine. We can always add that if we need it. So we can loop back into itself, or if we have our special attack, right? So copy, paste, change that event, and change where it's going. Dagger special. So I think that will work. So let's see. I spent. Oh. So. Nope. So forgot we need block transitions, right? So conditions, compare. We need to make sure that we have the block transition in here. Otherwise, we would immediately start, right? So I think that will work. Yeah. And now we can end much earlier, right? So I could hold. Let's see. So on release also causes a transition into it. So let me take a look at that as well. Curious to why that's doing it, because we do have a completed event, but I don't know if we really, what that's really doing. So I do this, we get to loop, and we're staying in loop. And I release, and for some reason, the loop actually executes. So let's look at our character. So we're holding, and then we get Yes. It also triggers on release, which is interesting. Because yeah, the special hold. I guess it's one of those things where, like, because I think this is a hold in one shot. Let's look at the gamepad real quick. So it is a hold, and it's not a one shot. So I should be getting all those events, right? So let me see. Let's print string. Hello? And we don't really get that again until I let go, which is weird, right? So let's see, do I get... I'm going to go to evade attack instead. Let me see if we actually transition. If I hold this down and keep it held down, do I get to the evade attack? No. But it does loop back in on its... So what is doing that? Let's... find out. Okay, so... pause. Oh, okay, so I'm in idle for a frame. And then I immediately go in, right? So I do try to enter evade attack, but it fails the transition. So what is the transition? Well, it doesn't fail the transition. It fails to enter, right? So looking at my enter conditions. So yeah, I need to be evading. So I guess that makes sense that I can't go into it, right? So it fails, and then it immediately goes into heavy hold, I suppose. So maybe that was just a bad example. So let's go to combo 1. And it should automatically attack, right? Yeah, and then I go right into that. So maybe, because I don't know why it doesn't really... oh, I think I may know why. I don't know if it's something exposed or if I need to write it in this behavior. But do I have a task that is blueprinted? Let's look. So for example, we have a task. There's a should state change on reselect. So if set true, the task will receive enter exit even if the state was previously active. So I'm hoping that that's true for mine by default. So let's look at that. So under private aim, state tree, tasks, dynamic. I don't know if it needs to be in some sort of constructor. Let's see. Do I have any examples of something with constructors? There's wait, gameplay event, resolve. Yeah, here you go. So can I do something similar? Let's find out. Was the whole thing wrapped in that? No. Oh, what's wrong? Okay, what does this look like in practice, though? Oh, this, right? So in the struct, hoping that's good. So consider for completion be what's the property called? Good state change on reselect. Oops. Hoping that's it. We're gonna have to recompile. Got a cute kitty in the basket. Looking at something. So I'm hoping basically what this should state change on reselect. What I'm hoping this will do is when we're in the dagger hold state and then we transition back into the dagger hold state, it causes the re-enter to happen again. So that basically the ability will be granted again and reactivates again. And we get the attack to come out again. Rather than having to possibly transition into root and hope the hold button is still being held and have that then trigger back down. I think it could work either way, but it would be nice if I could maybe get this to work. So again, our example. Oh my god, she has so much confidence jumping off of this thing. So I'm hoping rather than going into melee combo 1 or root or whatever, I can just go back into melee heavy hold. So, moment of truth. If I just hold X, I should just repeatedly do it. No, but then I let go and it works. So that doesn't seem like that did it. If I go into itself, no. All that selection behavior, it's fine. So yeah, the alternative is just go back to root. Well, nope. So let's just be sure what's happening. He's just going for it, so not this one. It seems like we get to here, we get the heavy hold trigger, it goes to root, but why is it doing the transition? If it's meant to be kind of blocked. Unless I need to do it. I don't think I have to do that first. Yeah, he's just wiggling. Okay, so that didn't work. I don't think it's this, right? B, bit state change on reselect. What's the default value? True? Yeah, so it's already true. Oh, definitely didn't matter. If I go to idle, oops, sorry, I just smacked shit out of the microphone. Yeah, still doing a little dance. Let's see. We can also just debug this again, see what's going on. I suspect it's just, I don't know, that am I not recording? There we go. Yeah, we get to heavy loop. Transition, so true is false. So yeah, so we get here, and then it tries to enter, and then it does, but this transition condition isn't true, right? So it's just like, maybe I know why. Is this like too long? 0.05? What if I make this like 0.1? Do we see the same problem, but just slightly delayed? Yes. So are we just not blocking the input as well? Status dot block probability melee, right? So I'm guessing that needs to be also the enter condition. But that should be up here, right? So like we essentially just need to be able to block. So maybe it's not in the buffer as well. So input buffer, I think it is, but let's just see. So there's special attack hold, which I think that's new. Well, no, special attack hold, that's secondary weapon, right? So we have primary attack basic, and then we have primary weapon special attack hold. Do we have primary weapon special attack hold? No. So primary weapon special attack hold. Does this work? No. It's like, what I'm hoping is, we have the input buffer, right? Here at the beginning. So this should be blocking inputs. I'm not sure why it's not. It's funny though. Like it seems like it's blocking stuff with the basic combo. So is there anything special happening? So if block transition is false, right? And that's what we have. I guess because it's trying to go, maybe because it's going to idle. I don't know if that's going to work. If I put it back into melee heavy hold, do we see anything different? I'm sure it will not stutter, right? But yeah, we're not entering again into a heavy hold. Like it seems like we're in heavy hold, but it's just not completing. And then we're kind of back to square one, right? Are we dead? Yeah, it's just permanently trying. It just doesn't seem like it's restarting. Maybe that's why I did it the way I did it before. So here's the heavy hold. I don't know if that's going to make a difference, but I kind of want to, like, let me also do the input, what do we call it, enhanced input. So yeah, it's constantly being triggered, right? Can't make this go anywhere else because otherwise it's gonna be kind of prematurely, like, because again I don't know why it immediately exits. If I tell it to if I literally tell it to go to melee combo 2, for example, right, and I hold it, it still plays the full thing before going into melee combo 2, right? But I'm not sure why when I tell it to go to idle, we get this. Like, is it because something is just not? Because like I'm assuming when we try to do it to melee combo 1, it's blocked that transition, right? So do I have to say like end has tag, or has tags? No. What do I want to do? Because I feel like the input buffer is not doing what I'm hoping it was doing, right? Because I have an input buffer component somewhere in here, right? Components, character, component, input buffer. So we take the... I feel like this is just kind of done wrong. We had the, open buffer, right? And closed buffer. And then we're queuing, so we're ticking. We're getting this. So consume. Set mark input buffer, open this frame. Resolve owner objects. It's like, in theory, we'll have to do a cleanup, I think, at some point of that input buffer, because that shit's not working as I think it needs to be working. What's this one, right? So copy this. I think here. No tags match. Take that block, or just block. I guess I could just do the melee transition requirements, right? Does this work? Yes. That works. So definitely my input buffer is just not, seems like it's always sending stuff. So we can test this theory. So if I slow down time to the good old days, I do this. But each time I press the button, so to me, so here we're getting an event, right? So maybe it's not the buffer, but it's more of the input listener, right? So we're entering the state, we're listening, we're getting all the data listeners or whatever, and then we do queue state per action frame, right? We get all these things. And then we're queuing it. And then we're exiting. And on tick, we're checking, right? So I think I need to also be checking if the buffer's open here. Maybe that's the miracle fix. So we'll try that, but then we'll have to call it a night, I think. I hope y'all enjoyed the stream today. I know I learned a lot. I'm glad we got a good amount done. If you aren't already following, make sure to follow here on Twitch. We want to grow the audience here as much as we can. But if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe there. All of that is appreciated, and join our Discord. Kind of promoted it at the beginning, but we'll do it again. we're at about 878 followers on Twitch. I want to see if we can get to 900 by the end of the year, so make sure to show your support if you can. If you're just a lurker, all good, no pressure. So let's see if this miracle fix worked. So we'll test it again with daggers here. We got this loop. So essentially, we shouldn't need this transition condition. So we could force it to true. And let's see. Do we get... Okay, so nothing works because, yeah. I guess this is where we don't need to check if the state tree is buffered, right? So I guess I have to add it here so that yeah, I have to think about this. Not a miracle solution. So we'll have to add this to our to-do list for stuff, because like we're getting the input buffer, we're consuming, and then we're adding this, right? So basically on tick, what are we trying to do? We're trying to say, hey, I mean, what do I have to think about? So essentially, as we're pressing these things, we gotta check, hey, is the buffer open? Hey. I guess it's the opposite, right? We have to check if the buffer not open. All right, one last miracle fix. And then maybe we got it. Let's see if this works. I have faith. I believe. Okay, so we're able to attack. That's good. Now, if I slow down time, can I also buffer? Yes. Now, if I hold, am I going to be twitching? Yes. That didn't work. So something tells me the issue lies with, you know, how quickly the stuff goes. Like, I think I have I know I said I was going to stop, but hold on. Let me just find my state tree component. Is it under components? Yeah. Like, am I able to change like the tick group or something to make sure that this animation is like ticked first and then I have, you know, is not open kind of thing? But yeah, we're back to square one, of course, but you know, for now we can just put that back on, but I think that it has to be something we can do that's better, right? Because I don't know if there's, I don't know, if there needs to be some sort of like Constructor. I don't know. There should be maybe, let me look at the state tree component because it's like this, right? So we should be able to say more like that. And if we go to this, is our tick group? Set tick group. A ticking group. I don't know if it needs to be, but any item that needs to update work to be done before being ticked. I don't know if that any of these make sense. Maybe end physics. I don't know if that's gonna cause a bug or anything. We'll try this, but then I swear we'll go to bed. No, I'm not going to bed. Sorry. Just end the stream. Let's see. We can also look this up. So you type how to make sure animation is ticked before state tree. Or how to change tick order of systems. So you can use tick prerequisites, assign specific tick groups or manage execution specifically via manager subsystem. I'm just curious if this is gonna break anything, and then we'll just go from that. Okay, so things still work, but then are we still back at square one if I were to force this to be true? Yes, okay. Okay, so I'll make that evaluate, and we'll come back to it later. Because again, the problem is, you know, by the time we get to our task and we grant the ability, it's also like this should be like, I wonder if I make this a little bit longer and then I force this to true. Do we still get those tick events? Because the buffer should be open at that point. Yeah. So I wonder why 0.1 is not long enough. Is 0.2 long enough? No. That is so bizarre. That like this duration type, like what's the bare minimum that works? Like 0.35? No. .5? No. So what is it about? Sorry, I know I should stop, but something is just not making sense to me. Because like in code, in the listener, we're checking if the buffer is not open, right? So I shouldn't really be receiving any state tree events. But I am. So the notify state does what? Notify begin. So then we have what? This. We have a helper function in here that says, hey, is buffer open, right? Oh, yeah, something's funky. We'll look at it next time. I won't focus on it right now. So thanks for watching, everybody. It's appreciated. Make sure to follow. Make sure to subscribe. Since there's 4 of us watching on Twitch, I think we should do our due diligence and raid. And we can raid. Let's do Sorcerer Story. Sorcery Story, right? So send my regards. Have a good night. Have a good weekend coming up. Thanks again for watching. And I'll see you soon.
Jevons Cherries, welcome in. Oh my gosh, thank goodness I snoozed. Can you imagine? We're raiding out and someone raids in and then right about. Oh my gosh. Welcome in, welcome in. I hope you're doing good. Thank you so much for raiding in. What were you working on? What were you doing? How did the stream go? Welcome in. Classic sorcery mode, true.